Welcome. Today we will be exploring the top 10 assistive technology tools used in the workplace. Get ready to learn some new tools and to put some resources that are oldies but goodies into use. My name is Judith Lieberman, and I'm here representing both Career and Transition Services and Assistive Technology Services. The QR code in the bottom is a link to a Padlet of resources that will be shared during the presentation. The QR code will be shared again at the end of the presentation. In order to look at assistive technology tools, let's first define assistive technology, or AT. To put it simply, assistive technology is any piece of equipment that is either bought or modified that improves functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. Let's get started with our to-do list for today. Not only will this checklist help guide us through our presentation, but it is also one of the AT tools we are going to discuss. The 4 categories of assistive technology in the workplace for today are time management, self-regulation, workplace accommodations, and career exploration. Our first area to explore is time management. Time management refers to the process of organizing and planning how to divide your time between different activities. Today, we're going to start off our top 10 with number 1, alarms, timers, and reminders, and then number 2, visual schedules and checklists. You'll get to see multiple examples of how each of these are used in the workplace. Some of the examples may be videos of individuals using these tools. As they say, time is money, so let's keep it going. Who remembers having a digital alarm clock back when growing up? It was basic, it had numbers, it may have flashlights. You could control it to turn it on and off. It was fancy when it had both batteries and a plug to turn it on. Now it's time to dust it off and put it in your room so you can not only wake up independently, but also have a backup for when the power goes out. Being on time for work is essential. The digital features have bright lights and come in different sizes. You may even find one of these digital alarm clocks that talks. An oldie but goodie to show elapsed time is called a time timer. Time timers come in a variety of shapes and sizes, all showing time fading away. The concept of time is often hard to understand, so having a way to show it, whether on a desktop clock or a watch, can help a person. There are a lot of different products that this company has come out with. The idea of time elapsing gives a visual representation so that people can stay on track until time disappears. You can find this product as a wearable, such as a watch, which is useful for the workplace. The watch also gives a vibration when the time is up. Check out timetimer.com. Maybe you need or like an alarm that's portable and speaks aloud to you. This low-tech keychain by Active Products says the time out loud. This is important. Not everyone can see the numbers on the screen. This small, compact size and ability to be clipped onto a waistband, a belt, a wheelchair, a lanyard makes this a really simple tool to use. Let me introduce you to my friend Meg. Meg uses a timer at the workplace. She uses the timer to increase time on task. She started out with needing to set the timer for every couple of minutes, but has been able to increase time on task, setting the timer for longer periods of time. Check out and notice if you see the student or the teacher setting the timer in the video. Let's check out Meg.
Awesome. Did it go off?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love the way that you're working. Way to go. Oh, 0 seconds left. Awesome. You worked with a positive attitude this whole time.
Oh!
And you get a Davis dollar. Way to go.
Thank you.
Should we reset the alarm?
You getting the shade from me, Emma? I got it.
Meg, should we reset the alarm?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let's reset it. How many minutes? 4? No. Okay, press start. Awesome, girl. Way to go.
You get all the pillowcases, Nisha?
Did you notice that the teacher is asking the student how long she wants to set the timer for? Did you also notice the teacher helping to set the timer? It doesn't have to be just the student or just the teacher doing all the setup. In this case, Meg liked the teacher holding the device. Later on in the school year, Meg eventually held the device and then transitioned to wearing a watch instead. Great job, Meg.
Awesome.
The Windows 10 Alarm and Timers app is available to everyone in FCPS. It's on all FCPS computers. There are built-in features that work whether your computer is opened or closed. The features are accessed, allows you to access your computer whether you might be using JAWS or Cortina to access it, or if you're using mouse controls. Students practice scenarios to figure out how to use alarms and timers in the workplace. For example, they learn how to label alarms, including frequency. They practice scenarios such as this give students the chance to figure out how to count backwards, to make sure they're back from breaks and lunch, and to make sure that they're on time for the transportation. For example, in scenario 1, it says, you need to be at work at 9:30 Monday through Friday. It takes 30 minutes to get to work. What time do you need to leave? What function can you use on your smartphone or tablet to help you? So set the device and label the alarm, leave for work. So students can work through this as a group or independently. They may say that you need to leave at 9 o'clock, because it takes 30 minutes to get to work. Sometimes discussion comes up where they'll say, oh, I need an extra 10 minutes to walk to the bus. So students can then label their alarms and timers appropriately. And it's always great whenever you can set an alarm with the actual label, such as leave for work or time for break, so that when an alarm goes off, a student can hear and then see what the label for the alarm is set for. Watching the video Visual Supports at Home Timers, you can learn more about how to find and use timers in the home. There are timers everywhere, from your alarm clocks to the timer on the microwave in your stove. So think about how you can easily find similar alarms and timers at your place of work. This video is linked on the Padlet and is on the FCPS Assistive Technology Services public page. Checklists in the Notes app. This is one of my favorite features. So check out the list created on the Notes app on an iPod Touch. The student has a visual checklist of what each job task is. It's as easy as taking a picture and adding it to the checklist you create. Listen to how the teacher is sharing the list and seeing in real time the progress of the student. There are directions in the Padlet, again, how to create the notes and how to use all the features of notes. Let's check out the video.
So I've created a visual schedule in Notes on the iPhone, and so I've put a checklist of the dots where they can check off that they've completed the item, and then a picture of each task that they would be completing. And then once they're done, they can check in with me, and after they've done that, they've gone through and they've already completed these things, I can check real time by sharing this with the student, and they can live time basically show me what they've completed.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. So the use of images, text, and audio all in one place makes this a very useful tool. Don't forget, you can turn on spoken content under accessibility features to have the text read aloud.
So I've created visuals.
You can also create checklists that students can use to monitor their behavior in the workplace. On a great program called Intervention Central. And here you can create your own checklists, and you can use them across settings, and the list can be emailed or printed. ChoiceWorks by Be Visual has what's called a ChoiceWorks calendar app, and pictures represent activities to show sequence and time. The pictures will speak with an adult voice. There's a visual timer. It does have a low cost, and it is FCPS approved. So something that's really great about the ChoiceWorks calendar is after a student uses and checks off that they've done one of these different tasks, what happens is it leaves the checklist for the day, leaving only items that still need to be completed. So this is a very useful tool, and it's being used a lot in our work-based learning sites currently. So self-regulation is the ability to understand and manage your behavior and reactions to feelings and things happening around you. For example, being able to regulate reactions to frustration, excitement, and embarrassment, calm down after something exciting or upsetting. The following slides will give strategies to use self-regulation skills in the workplace. Coming in on the top 10 list, number 3, using photos and videos. Number 4, fidgets. 5, accessibility features such as guided access. Number 6, exercise or meditation. And number 7, headphones. These are all things that fall under self-regulation. So using pictures or video, we've got visual guides. Visual strategies can be key for some. They help make sense of a task, remember steps, and get comfortable accomplishing the tasks. It can include photos, clip art, text, symbol-based software. Create these using word processing software and inserting images. Use specialized software such as lesson pics, or just taking pictures and inserting them into a Word document. So here's a student that is using pictures on an iPod Touch for task sequencing. It's quick and easy, uses the camera. This student was using an FCPS device, but this can also be done on a BYOD device as well. That means bring your own device. So let me introduce you to Anthony. He uses a series of pictures on the iPod Touch to follow a task sequence for setting a table. He'll match the picture on the actual objects on the table to what is on the iPod Touch pictures. So let's take a look at Anthony and see how he does. Using the camera on a mobile device. Anthony uses picture sequences on an iPod Touch to serve as a visual model.
Oh, it's placemats. Next is plates.
Plates. He sees a picture of plates on the iPod Touch.
After that, it's silverware.
Next, he has to go get silverware. And a picture of silverware appears on the iPod.
Then cups.
Cups. A picture of cups appears on the iPod.
On the right side of the placemats.
Way to go, Anthony. The next table awaits. That was over at the Green Spring Retirement Center, where he would use the camera on a mobile device. Let's move on. So another way to use pictures is to use it as a script. So here's an example of using photos, but printed, to show tasks of how to perform great customer services. Pictures can be of a student or even using stock images, whichever you choose. In the workplace, this could be sitting on a desk as a visual reminder for a student. And that's how this one worked. It was for a student that worked at NVCC. And these were some visual cues for him of how to do great customer service, and it worked. Here's another example of using pictures to follow a work task. They're printed, they're portable, you can list as many steps as you need. If this is something you're doing repeatedly and a student really needs to check it off, you can always pull out one of those dry erase markers and do something where a student can then check it off in the workplace. Cue cards help provide support for a person who may need to remember what to say or do. The cards you can see on the screen are made using New Voice Pass software. New Voice is a free download, and you can begin making your own cards using Writing with Icons. Again, this is on the Padlet. How this is used, this is just one example. I need to make a withdrawal, and this cue cards, this set of cue cards was used for when students would go to the bank on their community-based instruction trips, on their CBI trips. So these cue cards were very helpful when they were using their AAC devices. So sometimes visuals give a person the ability to follow step-by-step directions of the job task. Here's an example of how a teacher creates visuals for a job task of folding paper and pairs it with visuals for a student's communication device. They can be practiced both at school, in school, and of course, in the community. Let's take a look and see Ms. Perot.
Hi, I'm Megan Perot from Centerville High School. I teach PACE, and this is one of our vocational skills lessons for one of our PACE classes. So we're working on the office skills this month, and one of our office skills is folding paper. So we introduced the hot dog fold, and after a vocabulary activity, the kids now know these words. And for step one, we get the paper, and their icon is right here. Step two, we match the long sides, and then we fold. And then step three is to check your work. But this is an example of how we're using LAMP visuals to help our students who use AAC devices.
Thank you, Ms. Perot. And that's a really helpful tool. So let's move on to the next one, which is video modeling. So video modeling helps make sense of a task. You can remember the steps. It helps increase independence. If you look up video modeling on YouTube, you can put in a search term, video modeling for car repair, video modeling for setting a table. All sorts of videos will pop up. So video modeling can assist in teaching a variety of skills, not just work skills, but daily living, behavioral, things you can do at school. There's this one site called Ableize, and it says, know before you go. Again, that's in our Padlet. And this one site does have some, you can go in and either search for a video or post a video of some video instruction that you've done and post it up on this site as well. So it's really great. Let me show you another example. So here's a video modeling for a work task, and this work task is loading a dishwasher. And what I want to just point out before we actually watch a video is that in order to actually access this video in the work site, this looks like it was made in a classroom, but loading a dishwasher is obviously a work task as well. The teacher put the QR code right on the dishwasher, making it very simple for the individual to find the QR code and then access the video. So let's watch this video, and you'll see that there's no audio to it, but I'm going to actually annotate it as we hear the video, as we watch the video loading the dishwasher. Loading the dishwasher, video-based instruction. Open the dishwasher. Put cups in top drawer. Pull out bottom drawer. Load plates. Load bowls. Load large plates. Load silverware. Close the drawer. Take out dishwashing pod. Load dishwashing pod in container. Close dishwasher. Press start. So as you can see, there was a lot of steps involved in that task sequence. And this person decided to not add any audio to it. But again, you can choose how you want to make your video. This can be done also for so many different tasks. So just think about any work task that's out there. A video can be made for a student to be able to reference either during the job, before going to the job, on break. Can also use video-based instruction to check for accuracy. So if a student has a very specific job, there may be a video for them to watch to double check that they've completed all the different steps. This is just endless ways that you can use video-based instruction. The next area we're going to move on to is called video messaging. So a lot of people who use iOS know this is FaceTime. You can get an immediate response from a person. You get both auditory and visual feedback, and it can be an instant stress relief. So the ability to hear a voice and see a face, or recognize a voice or face, gives an immediate response for assistance. It can be used to help calm anxieties by seeing a familiar face or hearing a familiar voice. Sometimes it can be used to help find an object. For example, if someone needs to go to a storeroom and can't find something, they can always video call someone to help them point out where the item is. Maybe they just missed it on the shelf. So if you want to learn more about visual supports at home schedules, because this also fits into our self-regulation, again, go to our Padlet or go to the ATS, Assistive Technology Services public page, and you'll be able to find visual supports at home calendar. So the calendars can be elaborate, they can be simple, they can be based on text. Schedules bring comfort and sense to those who thrive on structure. The best news is you can decide how to make your own schedule. So this video gives a ton of resources of how to use visual supports at home. And again, you can always substitute the word at home for at work in most cases. Next, we're going to move on to fidgets. So fidgets can be used to help help you wake up. They could be used for all ages. Sometimes you think you have to there are all different types of fidgets. For example, if you are out and you have keys in your hand, just even fidgeting your keys around or jingling your keys, or how about playing with a hair tie? Because that's something that someone may have really accessible. But fidgets can be used in the school and they can be used in the workplace. They can be used in transition. So the thing about fidgets in the workplace is that we always try and think about what is appropriate to the workplace, what is most appropriate. So sometimes taking a look at the size of a fidget. So you wouldn't necessarily walk in with a giant squishy pillow. You may have to walk in with a smaller size pillow or smaller size stuffed animal or something that hangs off a keychain. It depends on where you're working and what is appropriate. But sometimes if you take a look at desks, you may see a Rubik's Cube sitting on there. You may even see some other little toys or other little Etch-a-Sketches or little snake eyes, or all different things that you can use to fidget around with. So another thing you can do is have a fidgets in a bag. So some people might call it a calm down box, but another thing you could do is just kind of even take an accessory bag and fill it up with some tools that are really helpful for you that help you calm down, whether it's dough or whether it's some putty or it's a little mini puzzle or whatever it is. All these different tools you can just very easily and being very discreet put them right in a bag and throw it in your backpack that you're going to take to work, or your purse or your bag, and just have them available. So that's fidgets in the workplace. And again, the Padlet has some additional articles and videos all about fidgets in the workplace. The next area we're going to go to is guided access. So guided access keeps on an iOS device, keeps you in that one app unless once you set it up, guided access will help you remain in that one app. And how you do that is you go to settings, you go to accessibility, and then you go to guided access. And when you go to the guided access screen, it's what you have on the screen here. You need to turn guided access on, and then you're going to go into passcode settings. And under passcode settings, it's going to ask you to come up with a code. So a very useful code is one that you'll remember, nothing fancy. It could be as easy as using 1111. You set up your passcode. You can also use Face ID if you need to. You could set up time limits, a shortcut. And the reason that this is really great is once you set this up, all you need to do is press your side button 3 times real quickly, and it activates guided access. And then guided access lets you stay in that one app until you turn it off. Why this is so useful for a person is to be able in the workplace is that sometimes there is like a no cell phone policy or no computers or no this or that. And if someone really does need to use something specific on a device, they can talk about what they need to use and request as an accommodation in the workplace that they may need to stay on the alarm function over the timers. And by using guided access, they could show their employer that this is where I'm going to work. This is where I'm landing. And I'm not going to go into social media. I'm not going to go and play games and start messaging. I'm going to stay right here in guided access. And having the opportunity to practice this a lot of times in the workplace now as students is something that is often encouraged so that students can practice using those words with supervisors and using this as a tool. So guided access, again, that's an iOS built-in feature on accessibility features. So does music help you focus? Lo-fi beats is a visual and auditory music that helps you relax. So I'm just going to play that for you. could keep that going and going, but I might be so relaxed that I may not finish this presentation. But what this is a constant YouTube live stream starring an anime girl doing her homework. And if you like it, it causes a release of dopamine. And dopamine is responsible for enhancing alertness, motivation, focus, and happiness. The music can be played whether you're on the way to work or even during a break. Last week, I saw the link to Lofi Beats in a student's work schedule in between 2 work tasks. This student used Lofi Beats as a way to just take a little break and a little meditation before moving on to the next job task in her very fast-paced work environment. So what a great way to enjoy some music and integrate it into your work day. So the Peace Out podcasts is a beneficial resource for all ages. The Peace Out podcast provides short stories that help individuals calm down and relax by guiding them through visualization and breathing exercises. This is perfect for when you're taking a break, or perfect for on the way home, or maybe even on the way to the workplace to teach mindfulness and self-regulation. Again, if you're going to do this, you're going to want to make sure that you have some headsets on so that you're only hearing it and not everyone else around you, unless this is being done as a group activity. So, brought to you by Special Olympics organization, Fit 5 is based on 3 simple goals of exercising 5 days a week, eating 5 total fruits and vegetables for the day, and drinking 5 bottles of water a day. So the reason I'm sharing this with you today is that this is an online program, and it features fitness broken down into 4 categories: strength, balance, endurance, and flexibility. And you can access this on all sorts of devices to listen or to watch. You could even print up some of the resources. It's really great. And if you look closely, you may even see some of our FCPS students that are models and representing some of the different exercises. So wearing headphones can be beneficial to some individuals in the workplace. It's interesting how wearing headphones became one of the top 10. I was teaching a class, and when I asked the students to share what they felt the most useful AT tools in the workplace were, multiple students said headphones. And when we kept talking about it, they were saying things like, oh, they help me focus on the job task, and they help keep out all the extra noise so I can work better. So whenever we think about something in the workplace, we really want to make sure that what we're using is appropriate for the workplace if possible. So if you look at all these different types of headphones, you'll see some differences. A is a set of headphones that have some holographs, it has some cat ears, and B has all different colors and patterns on it. And while those are really cool, depending on where you're working, depends on whether that may be appropriate or not. You may, depending on where you are. So you may look to get something that's a little more, where like they'll blend in a little bit more. So you may look to do like a wireless earbud, which is letter C, or even D, a simple noise canceling headphone that is just a solid black color. So again, it all depends on where you're working and what you're doing. Sometimes choosing wisely to make sure that it's appropriate for the workplace. And you can always talk to your supervisor about that if you have any questions. So the next area that we're going to get onto is career exploration. Which career or job would you like to do? And which one would you like to use all of these assistive technology tools in? So searching different sites can help you figure out what skills, and then further figure out which accommodations you may or may need on the job. So today I'm just going to take you to a couple different websites. One is called CareerOneStop and one is called Onnet online. And this brings us to number 8 in our top 10. Number 8, looking at career websites. So the first one is CareerOneStop.org. And CareerOneStop So here, CareerOneStop has all sorts of information for you to see. You can explore careers, find training, look at a job search. You can even find local listings. In this toolkit, you could find all different types of information, things that are available in the state and local level. You could look for fastest growing industries. But let's go here to explore careers, because under exploring careers is kind of cool. There are different assessments that are there. You can look at careers by career clusters. You can even plan out your career. So if I were going to do a search and I was going to look at career clusters, it brings me here and it shows which career cluster what I want to learn about. So I could then view different videos to learn about 18 industry career cluster groups. So if I did that, I'm just going to show you, we're not going to watch the video, but maybe let's look at agricultural, food, and food resources. It's the first one. Maybe I do want to learn a little bit about food and natural resource occupations. What I could do is go there, and then they've all these great videos. You can explore careers. This one talks about the production and processing and marketing, distribution, development, all about food and products and resources and horticulture. So this is really great because it lets you go and check out all different career clusters. So things you may not have originally chosen to take a look at. So this is CareerOneStop, and if you're looking for different types of training, you can go here and see some information about certifications, or maybe you want to look at colleges or apprenticeships. So there's all different types of information on here. You just have to take a little time and take a look. And the interesting thing here also is if you go here, resources for, I like this, workers resources for, you can go to workers with disabilities. And what this does is it talks about resources for getting back to work, entry level, defining disability and the American Disabilities Act, job skills, disclosing a disability. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but it just really links you up with all different types of information in there. So it's very useful. So that is CareerOneStop. And again, this is on the Padlet. And this is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Labor. So this is just fabulous. So the next one I wanted to show you is, so that's CareerOneStop. The next one is onnetonline.org. And Onnet, let's go check them out. So this is really great site. It helps you find occupations. Onnet has different sites, so you can either scroll through the actual site, like, and I always discuss this as being color coded. So I love when colors are used, when colors are used to enhance, and it's helpful for you to use colors. You could find this really helpful. So but there's different ways to access this information. So we can look at finding occupations, focus on occupations using a specific tool. So, or we can even go over here to, I want to be a, and then it says at my next move. So again, to access all these different cards on this page, you can also navigate to Onnet sites. So you don't need the color, you can also just go here. So we're going to go to my next move. And this site says, what do you want to do for a living? Which is such a hard question to ask, but it's just one of our guiding questions. So if you scroll down a little, it shows you there's different ways that you can access these search boxes. So you can search careers with keywords, you can browse a career like industry or career clusters, or you could tell us what you think you like to do by answering questions. That's kind of more of an assessment. So let's say examples, doctor or build houses. You know, I'm going to talk about restaurants. I would love to work at a restaurant. So I typed in restaurants and up comes all different things. Cooks food, fast food and counter workers, first line supervisors, waiters, waitresses. I think I'm going to look at food prep workers. And then this is where the magic happens. So food preparation workers are also called deli clerk, diet aid, dietary aid, food service worker. This comes up a lot with students. We get a lot of students that are working in the food industry. So when we're looking and researching further, students will often choose this to look at. So here you can go in and watch a career video, which
Food preparation workers work in cafeterias and restaurants under the direction of cooks, chefs, and food service managers. They prepare cold foods, slice meat, peel and cut vegetables, brew coffee or tea, and more. When needed, they retrieve food, clean and put away equipment, and unload deliveries. They may also...
So as you can see, you can go in here and watch a full video, which they're all captioned, which is fabulous. And then what you can do is go down here, go down a little bit further and look at knowledge, skills, and abilities. So what is some of the knowledge that you may need to know? It could be business knowledge, so customer service, some of those soft skills, management, safety and government, so public safety and security. Some of the skills, this comes up as strengths all the time when we talk about this in the workplace. What are some of your strengths? Listening to others, not interrupting and asking good questions and talking to others. So those are some of the basic skills they say that they want you to have. And then social and abilities. Hold or move items with your hands. Keep your arm or hand steady. And under verbal abilities, communicate by speaking. So again, those are just some of the abilities. It doesn't mean that you can't have an accommodation, and it doesn't mean that you can't adapt something, but these are just some of the general abilities. And then it talks also about what type of personality do you have? So do you have good self-control, integrity, cooperation? If these are things that are really, really hard for you, you may need to look further and see if this is a job that you can do, or is it a job that maybe you need some more training to be able to do? And then it brings you over to technology. So again, these are just some sample things. And really important is education. So do you have a high school diploma? Or no high school diploma usually needed. So if this job was something that you may need a certification in, you could click on find certifications or find licenses or an apprenticeship. And if you did, then it would bring up one of those for you. And it talks about some different salaries. And then it also gives some other suggestions that if you want to explore. Maybe you are also, if you're interested in serving food, maybe you're interested in being a fast food and counter worker. And so it gives you other places that have readable links that you can go and explore. So it's just a really great site. I really love it. You can always print your information. You can share your information. You could share this page. You do not need to sign in or create any sort of an account to do anything on this site. It's just great. So that's Onnet online. And so that completes up to number 8. So now we hit the last 2 on our top 10. So under workplace accommodations, we're going to talk about requesting reasonable accommodations and adaptive equipment. So this list, so our top 10 list is being rounded out, and here we go. So individuals are covered under IDEA. So as far as your accommodations while in high school, those are all covered under IDEA. But when you enter the workforce, you're looking at the American with Disabilities Act, the ADA, and reasonable accommodations. So what that means is modification or adjustment to a job or the work environment or the way things are usually done during the hiring process, as well as the American Disability Act also says that you will have equal opportunity not only to get a job, but successfully perform the job tasks to the same extent as people without disabilities. So the ADA talks about reasonable accommodations is a modification or adjustment to a job or how things are done during the hiring process. These modifications help an individual with a disability to have equal opportunity. So the ADA requires reasonable accommodations as they relate to 3 types of employment, 3 parts of employment. So equal opportunity in the application process, right? So if you're going to need if you're going to interview, but you're going to need a certain space, a quiet space to interview in, or maybe you need a sign language interpreter, or you need to have your interview questions ahead of time, or you need to have interview questions in print as well as verbally. These are all things under the ADA that you can request and that you can often get. So these will help you in the hiring process. And then number 2 says, enabling a qualified individual to perform the essential functions of a job, and then making it possible to have equal benefits. So there's a lot that goes into reasonable accommodations. And again, as we talked about before, it's about asking and making requests for these accommodations. Remember, not all disabilities are visible, and not all employers will understand what you need. So there's this whole process about how you disclose a disability, and one of the places that's really helpful with this is Askjan.org. And this link is available on the Padlet as well. And it's where you can go in and search for all different types of resources about getting accommodations. So I really, let's go to it. Askjan.org. It's also called the Job Accommodation Network. And when you go here, you can either decide if you're going to look as an employer or an individual. So I'm going to say for individuals, and then you can learn more about accommodations based on your role. So here comes up something with a service dog. I'm a job seeker. And now I may want to take a look here. And to tell you that for all your jobs consultation services, you can get them via telephone, email. You can look at the SOAR, the Searchable Online Accommodation Resource, Jan on Demand. There's all different disabilities and accommodations, disclosure. So I just want to show you the Searchable Online Accommodation Resource. And maybe you put in here, it lets you explore options with people with disabilities, and it lets you kind of put in a search or phrase. So maybe I'm going to put in ADHD. And it comes up with some featured results, and we'll say ADHD hyperactivity, and it talks all about ADHD. And then it talks about ADHD and the American with Disabilities Act. And then it goes on about accommodating employees. Let's see. So how do you accommodate an employee with ADHD? So you may have helping identifying strengths instead of focusing on weaknesses, reinforcing creativity. So there's all different things that they put here. You can also go through. So it's a really great site. Also feel free to go up and check under the accommodation search, the ADA library. And lastly, I just want to tell you that this is a great tool also because when you're going in to ask for an accommodation, you're often going in to talk about what are some things that you need, right? So if you're going to ask for disclosing your disability and asking for something, sometimes sending an employer for employers, you can send them, give them this resource, and they can also go through and look at all the great resources that you can be helped with as far as securing and getting accommodations. Another one is the accommodation search. So maybe if I put in anxiety, that's another one. All right. So there's all different types of topics and articles and all sorts of things in here as well. So this is just a really great site, and it's kind of like a rabbit hole because once you start, you really just want to go and keep looking and looking. So feel free to go through here. There's an A through Z list. If you're looking for information specifically on job accommodations, the ADA or topics, you can see what listings are here. So you can search by a disability or by limitation or by work-related function or by an accommodation. So by accommodation is an interesting one to take a look at. So maybe I need let's say technology. So you can look here. It talks about what the technology is, and then they talk about here the first step in choosing AT is to define the situation. So it really guides you through a lot of different things. In the Padlet, I also put how to disclose a disability with your employer and the steps for how to do that all through the Askjan. And I would say that, here we go. Yep. Ooh. Let me just get back to our slides. Sorry about that. All right, so we went through and did CareerOneStop, Onnet, workplace accommodations, and then the last thing bring us on our top 10 list is adaptive equipment. And adaptive equipment comes and varies, depends on job tasks. And oops. There's all different types of equipment that's out there depending on what you need. You can have a discussion with an OT or physical therapist. What I wanted to show you was there's two things here. One is a student using a Pentaflex, which is a piece of equipment that he uses at the job site to help him sort for alphabetizing. And the student lifts the letter and then places the document under the piece that holds the paper in place. So that's a piece of adaptive equipment.
This is how you sort files with this sorter. Letter H, 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 H. G, G.
So that, as you can see, a student is just sorting out papers and using a alphabetizing tool called a Pentaflex. So that really helps him be independent in doing his job tasks. And then there's all different types of adaptive equipment, everything using switches for an electric scissor, or it could even be a student choosing what type of adaptive equipment they may need. And here you can see a student using eye gaze technology, and he's choosing which, choosing out, I think it was a desktop paper holder for him to use at his workplace to hold up all his documents. Let's take a look. Okay, go to the next one. Go back to the email. Go back to your Outlook. Good. If you scroll down, go right. Perfect. So here's just another thing that I found. And this is a document tablet holder. A bit better. Hold your papers. All right, so as you could see, a student there, his name is Fidel. He's pretty amazing, and he uses eye gaze software, but what he was doing was choosing what other adaptive equipment he needed to set up his workspace at the National Science Foundation, where he was working during this setting.
A.
Let's just move on and finish up.
Another A.
All right, so here we are. So those were our top 10. I hope that you were able to gather some useful tools. And again, all this information is going to be on your Padlet. And before we conclude, I just wanted to share out a few more items of note. And again, all of this is on the Padlet. This is our CTS site, Career and Transition site. And we've also all different types of cards there available to show you on our site, everything from job coach services, some of our different departments, the Pulley Career Center, transition planning, all of that. So this site will bring you some great information. So this is the Padlet that I'm talking about, the CTS Tech Tools for the Workplace. There'll be multiple areas for you to take a look at: time management, self-regulation, career exploration, workplace accommodations, and one more is the FCPS and ATS tools. And again, here's the QR code. So if you want to take a second and pull out a device to bring up this QR code. CTS also has a YouTube channel, so Career and Transition Services YouTube page. And the Assistive Technology public site. So here's a QR code that will bring you to that. So let's hope that you take out your device and scan this, and that this ATS, Assistive Technology Services public site, has multiple cards that you can visit, everything to share out accessible instructional materials, the ambassador program, augmentative and alternative communication, technology tools to support special education instruction. If you click on any of these links, I would highly suggest that you can go in and then see there's lots of different places where you can gather more information that's useful, that's ready to go for your use. And let's not forget our Twitter sites. So here's the CTS Twitter. That is FCPS_CTS. And again, this is on the Padlet. And then the ATS one, ATS_FCPS. And really check out these Twitter sites. They have up-to-date information where you can go and get information that you learned today, share things, and follow us. There's always some great accomplishments and great way to gather and learn new information. So thank you for watching again. If you have any questions, best number is Career and Transition Services, 571-423-4510. And thank you for watching using top 10 assistive technology tools in the workplace.